Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a spiritual enlightenment channel where we help you raise your consciousness and become your best version. Today, I'm going to talk to you about where to find true and lasting love. Please subscribe to our channel and remember to click on the bell so that you will be notified of each and every video and audio we upload here every single week. So, I'm going to start by sharing with you my life's journey, how I discovered where to find true and lasting love. So, on my journey, it started all the way back from when we were kids. We were taught that, just say as a baby, when we come into the world, we are dependent upon the people around us to nurture us and give us love and give us everything that we need. Whether that's our parents, our grandparents, our foster parents, or whoever that is that raised us. And from that point forward, in the very beginning, as a little bitty baby, a little helpless infant baby, we're taught, we're wired to receive our love and our nourishment outside of ourselves. It starts from a little bitty baby. And then it goes on to preschool. When we go to preschool, right? We're taught to go to preschool, we're taught to go to school, and again, everything's outside of us because this is when we're really learning to be social. We're learning to interact with other children that are our age, and then we're introduced to our teacher or teachers in preschool. And from that point on, we're still reaching for something that's outside of us, not being taught who am I? Who is this person? Everything's out there, out there, out there. Mommy and daddy gave me my love and my nourishment, everything I needed as a child growing up in my home or wherever you grew up or whoever raised you. We're taught that everything's out there. Everything that I need is out there, is out there, is out there. So we begin to become programmed that we are dependent on other people. And it's really not our fault. It's just the way that things work, the way that things are and the way things were. It doesn't have to be like that now, but I'm saying back then, we're programmed to think that everything is outside of us. And so we grow up, we go to school, we create all these relationships. First, we have our friends, our classmates, our love and connection with our teachers, our dependence on our teachers, because they are the adults in our lives outside of the home. And then we get to a certain age. And for me, it was as early as the sixth grade where I wanted me a boyfriend. Well, actually, back in kindergarten, I got to school. I was 5 years young. I remember I got to school. And the first day of school, I saw this cute little boy. And because I like this little boy, he's so cute. And we sat next to each other and everything. I think we may have held hands for a few minutes. From that point on, I'm like, oh, this is my boyfriend. So I go home and tell my mom, and she's like, oh, no, you don't have a boyfriend. You're only 5 years young. Well, anyway, she couldn't tell me nothing because in my mind, I had a boyfriend. It's okay. So I was 5 years young. So as time went on, I got old enough to ride my bike, and this boyfriend of mine lived on the next street over from me, one street over, like 2 blocks down from me. And so when I got old enough to ride my bike, guess what I did? I got on my bike, by myself, that is. I got on my bike, went around the block, and went and visited my boyfriend. I would even go to his front door or side door, knock on his door, and ask for him. Or sometimes I'll just ride by and see if he's outside playing. Anyway, it's just from there, I had a love affair with someone outside of me because without even knowing who I am. Who am I? I didn't even have a relationship with myself. All I knew is that I looked this cute little boy and he's my boyfriend. So to me, that's love, right? So as time went on, so sixth grade, kindergarten, then sixth grade, I got boyfriend. I was a little older, so at this point, I could ride my bike or walk over to another boy's house, right? So this boy lived like some blocks away, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend in school. And then when I got out of school, I would go and look for him. Sixth grade, right? That's pretty early, isn't it? Again, love is outside of me. I'm looking for love early on in someone else without even knowing who I am. So time went on. I got to junior high, and then I started having more boyfriends. I started dating, even behind my parents' back. I think I was 14. Uh, I won't say lost my virginity. I don't even like that term. But as early as 14, I was intimately involved in a relationship, again, without knowing who I am. So that went on. And then by this time, I was getting ready to go to high school. And again, looking for more boys, more cute boys at my school. Who can I date next? Who can I go out with? So anyway, I met someone else. Um, I think I was 15 by this time. And this was my true love that I thought. True love, true love, true. I'm like, oh, this is the one. I'm going to be with him. We're going to grow up. We're going to get married, blah, 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 blah. Little did I know that I was just a part of his plan. I was just a part of his plan because I was 15, I believe. He was 16. And he had an older brother. His older brother actually was a player. And so his older brother was like 4 years older than him. He was a player. He had drive nice, he had this nice car. And so he had all these girls that were after him and liked him. And then my boyfriend his brother, younger brother, he would, get the car sometime, and really nice car back in the day in the 80s. Really nice car. I wasn't the only girl. I was the only person that this boyfriend of mine, my true, true, real, real love, who had my heart, um, didn't know that he actually had other girls that he was going out with. I found out later on, and I went through all this heartache and just crazy stuff at 15, 15 years young, where I'm supposed to be enjoying my life and having fun, right? So I could have avoided all of that had I known this little secret, which is love is not out there. I shouldn't be looking for love out there in another person. I should have known that love is inside of me. I am love. I am the one that I should be dating. First, I should be so in love with myself that nothing or nobody can break me ever. Had I known that, I wouldn't have gone through that first heartache. And that was at age 15. But that wasn't the first one. So the relationship didn't work out. It took me 6 months to get over that guy at 15 years young. Crazy. Anyway, 15. Then I go on, after a while, I start dating other guys, looking for that same love in the next guy, and 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 the next guy, all through high school, dating all these different guys. And then after high school, I'll break up with one person, I'll get in a relationship with another guy. So it seems like I never really had much of a break from age 15 all the way to age 32. So when you do the math, 15, 17 years. I went 17 years plus my adolescent years, plus my early on, elementary school years, all the way up from 5 years young, all the way up to 32. So, in other words, from a baby up to 32, I was never, ever, ever taught or never, ever, ever thought about having a relationship with myself. It was always out there. And so because I had, this may be different for you, I'm just sharing my journey, but because I had the love and the nourishment early on from my parents and my older siblings in my home, I had three older brothers who also loved and adored me when we were growing up. So I had all of that family love, and that's good. But then they got involved with their own lives and their own stuff, living their own lives. So now I'm this young girl, and then I have all these other influences because my brothers were older than me. Let's see, 4 years, 3 to 4 years, all the way up to 9 years older than me. So I'm picking up on that energy also from them dating and seeing girls and being in relationships. And I was like, oh well, I should do the same thing too. Oh, I can have love. I can have this great love and admiration from other people. They have girlfriends and I can have me a boyfriend. So all of that influence. And then with my parents and my mother being my main role model, her not being taught how to love herself either. She wasn't taught how to love herself growing up. And so at the age of 19, she had her first baby in this relationship with my dad, which wasn't the healthiest relationship, but she kept on and she kept on, she leave him and he come and find her. Long story. So many different times. So I wasn't born yet, but they had this break up, get back together relationship all the way from St. Louis to Tennessee to Michigan, where I reside at now, where I was raised and born. So my mother not knowing that about herself. So how could she possibly teach me about self-love? She didn't have it. She didn't have the high self-esteem and confidence about her. So that affected me as a young girl. So it wasn't until I was 32 years young and I was at this really great job. I had a great job down in Farmington Hills, Michigan. And then, I had this idea. I was like, this is a great job and everything, but I know there's more. What else is there? So I started kind of putting fillers out in the universe, and I would go to different churches. And by the time I was 28, I left the church because I just felt like there was time for something more. So I left my church and I just told Spirit, God, what else is there for me? I'm ready for something new. So then I was guided. I left my job and I moved out to California. I lived in San Diego and LA between the two for 2.5 years, not knowing what I was going to discover, but my intention was to go on this excursion, this adventure, this trying something new adventure, excuse me, to find myself. I did have the intention. I went out to California and I just knew within my spirit that there was time to do something else. It was time to do something new. So I went to find myself. So I was still looking for love, but on my journey, I started learning different things. And I started slowing down and I started asking questions and I started being in tune more. Got my heart broken again at 32. I met another guy out there. This guy broke my heart because I really, really, really wanted a relationship that would work for me. So at age 32, I had had so many relationships, 20 some relationships. So I got my heart broke one more time in California. And I said, my mistake was I got to California and I said, oh, this is going to be it for me. I'm living my dream. I had a really good job there, but it was still something more, something that was missing. So I get out there, I'm like, oh, I got this great job. And all I have to do is find that one guy that's for me so I can live happily ever after. I find this guy out here, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay out here. We're going to have this great, perfect relationship. But at this time, at age 32, I didn't know. I still didn't know who I was. And I still didn't fully honor and respect myself. I still didn't have that confidence in myself. So, how could I possibly attract someone who's on that frequency, that vibration, someone who could mirror that back to me? What I found is that you cannot possibly find true and lasting love outside of yourself until you have it within yourself. Now, this is my journey. There's exceptions to every rule, relationship, whatever you call that. But I am speaking for myself. I woke up when I was in California to realize, wait a minute. I had to take a step back and I said, wait a minute. Why have I had all these different relationships that hadn't worked? It took me to get my heart broken one last time at 32 for me to realize that. Then fast forward, I moved back to Michigan because that relationship didn't work out. And I said, well, I'm out here by myself. I guess felt like I got homesick because I just didn't feel like I had a strong connected relationship with anybody at that time because me and my boyfriend had broken up. So it's like, okay, what do I do now? And so I came back home. I came back to Michigan and still not fully awake, but I had began to awaken to that higher self-love within myself. And time went on. As I grew spiritually, I started meditating more, started reading more, and just really connecting to myself. And it wasn't until I was introduced to Abraham Hicks that I fully got to know who I am. It wasn't until, let's see, it's 2020 now, January. I can say, and I'm still on this journey, I can say up until 5 years ago, where I had my last relationship. So now I've been single for 5 years, just single and just loving who I am, discovering more who I am, and just being in love with me and just dating myself. It wasn't until I broke up with the last person, which was mutual. It was something that needed to happen because we were just different. We saw things different in life. So what I found over all these relationships of mine is to not be attached to people. This is the bulk of what I want you to get here. Be so in love with yourself and who you are as a person right now. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter what size you are, what age you are. None of that matters. What matters is that you have a intimate, personal relationship with yourself before you invite someone else in. I'm talking to the ladies and the gentlemen who are single right now or in an unhappy relationship. There's work that you need to do on yourself before you can have a happy relationship. In order to have a happy relationship, you have to be totally in love with yourself and know who you are. You have to be your own strength. You have to be your own anchor. You have to be that go-to person. You have to be that for yourself. You have to be that for yourself. So until you're able to build yourself up, until you're able to be comfortable in your own skin, until you're able to be totally in love with you, until you're able to be comfortable with being by yourself, whether that's long-term in a relationship, long-term, whether that's a year, a month, 10 years, whatever it takes, be okay with that. Or just if you're in a relationship right now, be okay with spending time alone. Because you know what? Nobody else on this planet is responsible for loving you except you. So, what I'd like you to take away from this is to just know that you are the one that you have been looking for. So now, if you haven't started, I want you to go ahead and have the courage to start that inner journey to get to know who you are. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Yes, I am this physical human being on the outside, but who are you on the inside? Who are you? Get to know yourself. Be in love with yourself. I'll tell you what, if you have the courage, if you have that bravery, if you have that confidence to be in love with yourself, first of all, get to know yourself, because this is not a overnight deal. It took me years to accept who I am as a person. It took me years to discover myself and to find out who I really am. I am love. I am pure love. I am pure light. And so are you. The real you is love. Love is not outside of you. It can never, ever, ever be found in another person or thing. Love cannot be found in your mother, father, sister, or brother, your significant other, your kids, your pets, your whoever. Love, when you receive love from another person, is an added bonus. And they reflect that love back to you, the love that you already have for yourself. And I'm going to tell you, if you anchor in on this, to get to know yourself and fall in love with you, you are the one. It's not outside of you. If you can be so anchored in love for yourself that what's outside of you won't matter, you will never, ever, ever be let down again. You see, the thing is, we need to not be attached to people or things or pets, because those things are going to pass away. Not only that, but while we're in these various relationships with our loved ones, our mother, father, sister, brother, cousins, whoever, parents, co-workers, neighbors, it's wonderful to have relationships. That's not what I'm saying here. But you have to first have a relationship with yourself before you can have a successful and mutually agreed upon relationship with others, and to not be dependent or attached to receiving love from someone else who was never, ever, ever, ever meant to be that way. We were just brainwashed. We were just programmed to think that way. But I tell you what, if you can find that inner self-love within yourself, you will be stronger than you have ever, 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 ever been in your entire life. I'm Katina Love. Thank you for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. I am a life purpose spiritual guide and business coach. My course is Awaken to Your Life's Purpose. If you're interested in going on that inner journey with yourself, I would love to be part of your journey. I would love to be your coach. If this resonates with you, you can visit my website at katinalove.com, KATINALOVE.com. Thanks for tuning in. Namaste.